Hello, IK here. Welcome to composition part 2, part 5. This video is about delete. Button delete. Where is locate? Is locate in post excerpt. Every post there is a button delete. Post excerpt. And when we push on button delete, immediately would be deleted one concretely post. And what would be sent to remote server? Would be sent to mock server only ID. Only ID. It would be request delete. Asynchronous request delete. It would be dispatch delete post. Tank. And that tank wrap asynchronous request delete. Request arrived to mock server. Mock server delete with own software, what is not interesting for us. Which one? Delete, remove, concretely post with that ID, remove from array posts, plural posts, array posts. And response data to our application in browser. In response data would be ID, what we send in request, and would be title and content. It is interesting. Mock server delete, remove, concretely post, and don't return to us in response data only that ID, what would be enough. But response data complete post with ID, title, content. And of course, in extra reducer, from payload, we isolate only ID and create removing that post from actual posts, from actual array as properties in state posts. And the tank function dispatch pending type. Okay, it is waiting, nothing happened. We would have changes of status to loading, and it is reason for re-rendering post list. And post list, that re-rendering post list show posts same quantity of post and status loading and error null if all is okay. And in dispatch action type fulfilled, send only ID, what take from payload, take only ID. We don't need title and content, but it is arrived, but we isolate only ID. And by ID, we remove from copy of post that deleted post. and create a new post inside state post. Would be created a new state from copy of post and action payload. We must set action payload because action is object with action type and payload. Payload would we isolate only. Payload would be ID, title, content, and we isolate from payload only ID, and by that ID we remove deleted post. How? We will see it later. But here is an interesting story looking in this complete composition of my application crude. What is basic application for every website, web application. All on the web is crude. Okay, and when that action fulfilled, that ID of deleted post, post would be removed, and the new post would be created, new state, and immediately user selector see that changes and order. User selector is there is a connection with the reconciliation, connection with virtual document object model, and the virtual document object model compare a new state with the previous state, and if it is difference, that the difference go to post list to use selector, and immediately that difference means re-rendering of post list. And the first reason for re-rendering is changes of status, and the second reason is changes of post, changes of post, because would be one post less. It is fulfilled type of action. Who will be re-rendered? What component? Component post list and post excerpt. Post excerpt must be re-rendered before post list finished. Post list begin, and because post state is changes, and post by post, it is reason that post excerpt changes, and post excerpt re-rendered many times. Times how many posts exist in array. How many posts exist in array? Here we are in code. Post excerpt. Post excerpt is about one post, and inside of that component post excerpt is button delete. Let's see that button delete. That button delete is here near button update, and here it is button delete. Here it is button delete. When we push that button dispatch handle delete. Dispatch handle delete. And of course, parameter of handle delete is post.id because post list parent of post excerpt. There is every post, and there is a post, and there is every post, and of course every button is there is data about post ID. Okay, that concretely post ID is post ID of post what we clicked delete. And handle delete, we go to see handle delete, handle dispatch handle delete, dispatch handle delete. It is dispatch thank function, and here handle delete is that thank function, and we see send only post ID, and we must go in post slice to see handle delete. Here is handle delete. Create asynchron thank, create wrap asynchron request, delete request. Here it is delete request. Address of our project is here, and in the end of that address there is ID, and the asynchron request arrow function in parameter there is ID. We send only ID, but response data here I write console log to see what is in response data. Does it only ID what we send, or response data is complete post with title and content? And when a response data coming, it means fulfilled is if all is okay, fulfilled. Let's get see handle delete dispatch action type fulfilled, and that moment at first pending type, and it would be provoke re-rendering of post list. But when handle delete dispatch fulfilled, that means that we know ID of deleted post, and by help of that ID, we remove concretely post and create new state. Again, that creation of new state by a user selector changes post in list, post list, and it is reason for re-rendering. First rendering, second rendering, always two-time rendering post list after every action of CRUD except fetch data, except read. When we read, we have 3 times of rendering. Here is 2 times of rendering post list, and of course in fulfilled we have, when fulfilled, we have re-rendered post excerpt. How many times? Many times. How many posts there are in array post? Okay, I talk story, complete story in this level, but look at that return response data. Where is this go? Response data go here concretely in extra reducer. Response data, it is about action, and action go to reducer. Here we call it extra reducer, and we find the case about delete. Here it is handle delete pending. State status changes in loading. It is reason for rendering post list. And after that, we have fulfilled if all is okay, fulfilled, handle delayed fulfilled, and this is interesting. Reducer is always, there is input state and action. State is a copy of state in output. Reducer, there is a two input and one output. Output is a state, actual state. But input is copy of that actual state. And action. Action is object with two properties. Type, action type. It is can be pending, fulfilled, or rejected if there is some error. And state, it is type. And second properties of action object is page load. In this situation, it is ID. It is payload is ID title content now, but and it is payload. But look at now what we need only ID of that payload. And I must say about state. State, this moment in this application, is object with three properties. State, name of state is post, plural word, post. It is array. No, it is object. And properties of that state is properties is post array, properties status, and properties error. Okay. Status can be idle, loading, and succeeded. Okay, here is a reducer. We call extra reducer because of Redux, but it is just, that difference is about Redux. Redux always we have tang function, and in reducer it means directly from our component action go to Redux to reducer, but here there is a no directly to reducer, go to mock server, and from mock server coming to our Redux reducer, because Tank is owner of Tank is and middleware and control all it Redux, and because Redux don't understand asynchronous process, cannot go look at what happened, but like state manager, full of responsibility, Redux want to see what happened during asynchronous process. And in that process, asynchronous process, there is object promise. Object promise, there is life cycle pending, fulfilled, and rejected. And it is information, and send all of that pending, fulfilled, or rejected, send to Redux, and the Redux understand it, because tang function take care that Redux understand what happened with the data in asynchronous process. Reducer, extra reducer, it means reducer. Concretely, we spoke about reducer, concretely reducer, here it is. And now in body of that arrow function, state and action, you look at the input value in reducer, it's state and action, and there is no side effect. There is nothing unknown, and there is no surprise. It would be pending, fulfilled, or rejected, and we call that poor function. When for same input, we know what we have for output, but with some inside of side effect, we don't know we don't know. For example, if we have some connection with not here it is. It is forced rejected. If we have some action of delete, for example, we have some X from connection to some thermometer outside of, it would be side effect. It would be an unknown result of that. We don't know, and it is poor. And it is something very, very important. Or is poor function. Every component is poor function. For a known input, here it is a state and action, we know output. Also in components, functional components is function. And we know for same input, it is props from parents to go to child. For every input of component, we know what would be output. It would be user interface, what we created by JS6. And here it is what we have now. Here we declare action.payload.id. It is important. Because of this, I know and I control that payload is not only ID, but also it is title and content. And because action is object, payload is properties of that object, and ID is properties of payload. Payload is object, would have ID, title, and content. And we take it in here in declaration of ID. And now, how we remove deleted post like this. State post, here it is. State post is state post filter. Take care here. We are in post slice, and here we have state word because it is state in here in post slice, but that state is named posts. Here it is. Here it is, name post. But we don't call it post, we call it state. We can call it state. And it is a state, but that state post, there is here it is initial state, and initial state is here. And look at here, there is no name post, plural post, but it is initial state is here declared with three properties: post, empty array, initial state, status, idle, error, null. And that initial state is post. We named state posts, plural. Here it is. Post slice is function what create a reducer, and that store. And here it is, name posts. That, it is our global state post. And that post, there is inside here in initial state, there is a same name, properties post array, and status and reducers. Uh, very, very complicated for beginners. And because of that, I like explain it. And I a lot of times spoke about it, and I will spoke again and again until I have a will to be better and better in explanation. In this post slides, we can stay hour by hour because here is a declarative programming, different from imperative. Imperative, procedural and object-oriented, we must from scratch all write. Here we don't write from scratch. We only write what we want. Who writes for us? Look at post slides. Post slides. We only said name, post, etc. And also here, who create tank function? This function, create asynchronous tank. We import it. We import it here. Here, create slice, we import. Create asynchronous tank, we import. And from Redux toolkit. And that function, create slice, create asynchronous tank, create all understandable tank from scratch for us. We must write only like formula. Formula in government emit and give in print formula for different reason. And formula, what is formula? Formula we must write in empty place in formula. It is same here. And formula, it is declaration of government. Government declare in law that it must be like it. And here it is all. Here it is, declare. Like formula, there is a name. We must write name. And here it is, post. And but that post, we change here with state. Because status is properties of that state, of that post, plural post, object post. And it is status. Okay, let's get C to delete, 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 delete. Here it is delete, pending. Why? Test this. Why here is only state, there is no action? Because there is no action, because pending type, there is no action. Always pending type, there is no action because the pending type status is loading. It means we're waiting action. We're waiting payload concretely. We're waiting payload. And action type handle delete is part. Handle delete pending, this is action type. But loading, there is no action and something else. Here, near state, here it is action. It is true would be that we write here payload, action.payload, because it is practically important for us. Also, here, it is important for us only post, because post need waiting for post array from something from post array. State is concretely properties of our state, and action is object, but we need only payload, part of that. Also in object state, we need only post array. But truth is that here coming action, it is object with the type and with action payload, with type of action, pending, fulfilled or rejected, and payload. And here is a state and tank function, what is with all coding behind the scene, would be from that create what need create. It means we only must write that declare ID, take ID from payload, and constant. Uh, it is not declaration, it is explicit changes of post. What is impossible? What is impossible in React? React, there is no explicit change some variable, concretely here post. It is our array post, but only immutable way. It means we need the copy of post, copy of array, and we can change only copy of array. But post slice would coming with the new version of Redux toolkit, give us a post slice, and post slice has in background library Imer library. And that library for us, instead of us, will create copy of this array post. And what we create here explicit, Imer library will create by copy instead of us. Again, declarative programming instead imperative programming. Declarative programming work what is possible, as many as possible code instead of us. And it is that code is practically before was boilerplate. What we again and again copy and type in object-oriented, in procedural. Here, there is no boilerplate. We have not, we don't need copy and write nothing. That boilerplate, that copy was very, very boring. And that programming, imperative programming, procedural was very, very boring because 99% we write same and always same code or copy if we good organized. Explicit, we said, and explicit for us is better. It is less job for us because of that React give us that possibility. And we said state post equal state post filter method. We use filter method. Filter method, every array have method filter. And our post is array. We use filter, and every filter, there is an arrow function for parameter. Here it is arrow function, and how filter function, how filter work. Filter work like this. Post by post from array. Give to arrow function like parameter, post by post. It is practically an excellent example of closure because filter is function, and that filter have possibility to take one post by one post, and arrow function is closed function, would have possibility access to that post. Filter is parent of arrow function, parent, and arrow function is child. Arrow function can have access to variable post in a filter lexical environment. Closure. And post by post go to this condition. It is a condition. Every post, what is not ID from payload, go ahead in a new post. Filter always create a new array. Filter of some array create new array. How? That every post, here it is, condition, in this concrete situation, we have condition, post ID, exclamation mark means no. No equal ID. ID from payload, here it is ID. Post with it is object ID, title, content. Post who satisfy this condition go in new array, and post by post go in a new array. But when coming post which post ID satisfy this condition, which post ID not which post ID equal ID, which means not satisfy this condition. Post which ID equal ID, that post don't go in a new array. Again, I focus and said and want to say, because this is condition. Condition said post ID not equal ID. Every post which satisfy that condition, not equal ID, go ahead in a new array, new post array. But post which ID is equal, don't satisfy this condition, is equal ID, stop, don't go in a new array. And our new actual state, it is that new state would be post without deleted array, without deleted post. Status would be succeeded, and error is the same, there is no change, and we don't write nothing here. It is new actual state in output of reducer. Previous actual state was removed, but don't touch, all is worked on copy, thanks to IMER library in background. Also here, we explicitly said this is succeed. It is primitive type of data. And by default, there is immutable way, because state status is reference point in place in memory with the value of status. But now that the reference point in other place in memory, the changes of status, it is a string, primitive data string. When value changes, it is not delete position in memory where it is previous value. No, create new location in memory. In that new location is a new value, concretely succeeded. And the state status, it is a reference what now point to that new location in memory with value succeeded. Don't touch previous location. Previous location state in memory like it was original, previous. And it is like, it is by default immutable. But we write here the explicit, here also explicit, and I'm thinking about how would be satisfy rule of React. And the rule of React is immutable way. Okay, it is a story about handle delete fulfilled. Handle delete fulfilled. Action. It is type of action. Handle delete fulfilled. And we see how we have output. Here is always output, and here is input. Input of reducer, and in body of arrow function, we create output. Output. And output is about how to create that new state. And look at, we code a little coding create for it. I explained that code, but it is about, here it is about interaction, state and action, what happened in input of reducer, and what happened in what would be new state. What would be new state? That new state, we see that we don't write nothing about state error. It means that state error would be unchangeable, and we don't need write it. But I said you something excellent with this React. Excellent, because nothing write what we don't need write. I want to show this handle delete fulfilled action type. And the second parameter is all here of that method that case. That method that case is method of object builder, extra reducer object builder, and parameter to extra reducer. And okay, let's get see to handle fulfilled. It is one parameter, and second parameter is this arrow function. And this parenthesis is close parenthesis of add case, this one, add case. Let's get see Redux. Here it is. Redux. Look at init. It is index.js. We have provider. Provider have store props, and in that moment would be install initial state. In that moment, with store would be created Redux ready to be used by React. And after that, we have call of app component, and app component call add post form. After that, post list, etc. And here, when we click on init, it would be post, initial post, empty array, status idle, error null. That status idle we really need for use effect, because in logic of use effect, status must be equal idle. And after that, never again. After that, always be loading or succeeded. Click in post fetch post, fetch post pending, and fetch post fulfilled. And now, of course, fetch post pending, also there is a post empty array, but only loading is changed. But fetch post fulfilled, there is a succeeded. Status succeeded, but post is full of post. And it is the reason that our component post excerpt rendered times how many posts there is in array post for every post rendering. Now I push delete. Here it is. Handle delete pending, handle delete fulfilled. And handle delete pending, nothing happened. It is waiting. We have two posts like before. Here it is. Status loading is always for pending, and error null. But in fulfilled, we have only one post. Fulfilled. There is only one post. And status succeeded, and this is error. Let's see our principal story. This is a story about data flow, because Redux is a manager of data, and we see how data flow always from action to mock server, and from mock server go to Redux, and from Redux every component subscribe to Redux, see changes of state in own variable. And in our application, there is only post list. By use selector, see changes, and every changes in Redux would be immediately changes in post status and error in post list. Question is, what is post status and error in component post list? Does it local state? Does it props, because coming from Redux? No, it is not props. Props must coming from parents. And local state, it is as a local state, because all manipulation after changes in Redux visible in post list, all manipulation, logic, etc., all manipulation with that state is like a local state. But difference of local state is managed by a use state. And this post status and error managed by Redux, it is a global state. Here it's also interesting that use selector can take properties of state. Don't take state object, but properties of that. And we have three variable: post array, status string, and error null. It is keyword null. Okay, this is Redux part. Let's get to console. I can refresh. We have only one. I recorded my console, and in every component I push console in beginning of component, but not like before out of component, even out of component, but in beginning of component. Post excerpt beginning, post list, post list, post excerpt, and yeah, here it is, and of course in at post form, etc. But and now I have this situation when initial rendering up rendered. It is start, but must be first rendered at post 4 because up rendered is called from index.js and begin rendering. But in that beginning rendering, app have child at post form and render it at post form. Only one time at post form rendered. And after that, start rendered post list rendered. We see it is on the beginning of post list. And we see that state post is empty because initial rendering, initial state, what was installed in index.js by provider and store props. Initial is prompty is empty post array, idle status, null error. It is initial. After initial, event component was mount, call use effect. Use effect, there is a logic status equal idle, and there is a dispatch fetch post. It is all true. And we have dispatch post, fetch post, and post list is rendered. Excellent. It is okay. Post list is rendered one time, and initial time. Post list rendered again after was mounted. Pending type again. Post is empty. It is pending time. And third, here is fulfilled action. Here it is one post, fulfilled action, one post here. And of course, the post excerpt rendered because of that exist post. It is initial rendering. Now it is excellent. And now delete post 1, post 3 that we have. Okay, I delete post 2. Post 2, delete. We must want what it is, add post rendered the title. Okay, we look at what would be below title. It is succeed, post rendered, add post rendered, and now title. Delete. Here it is after title. We have post list rendered because action thank function dispatch pending and fulfilled. Pending, at first, there was 2 post. It is pending type. We're waiting action, we're waiting payload, and it is loading. But after fulfilled, look at fulfilled, it is a response. Response is title, content, and ID 3. It is visible. It is post slice. It is in post slice. Here it is again. Post 4. save post. Okay, now delete. Look at delete. We have post list rendered with the 2 posts. Loading, it is pending type. After that, post list rendered fulfilled, because this is response data. Post 3, title content, and it is payload, and from payload we isolate ID 4 and use in our reducer. And post list rendered, and fulfilled, it is one post rest, and that post was rendered by post excerpt. It is child, it must be rendered before post list. Post list start rendered, C child C changes in posters, and rendered every post. There is no number before that, because only one time rendered post. But if we have more, save post, post excerpt, look at you number 2. Number 2, it is add post form, save. Okay, here is excellent. I'm satisfied with this rendering. I satisfied that console log position is on beginning of component. Here it is. Post list. Look at console. It is beginning. Look at my confusion. I write before. I write here that it is outside of component. It is outside of component. What it means? It means that that location in that moment was not a part of my study, and I make in fast, don't thinking about that. I think, okay, it is only in that file, and that complete file is no, that file there is a two component, and this import is important for both component. For both component, for example, update post form is import for post excerpt. For post excerpt, and this use selector, use dispatch, use effect, etc. is for post list, etc. It means same input for two component. That two component is in same file because can have same import. We don't need new file because post excerpt is here that component we use only in post list. It is child of post list. And why write it in separate physical file? Okay, here it is. And here it is component. Here it is beginning of component. It is post list, post pattern, post excerpt. I don't need it. It is because of my my discussion about artificial intelligence, where I thinking why post excerpt always must re-render times how many posts there is in array post. And after some communication with ChatGPT, in the end, I think that in the future, I think I start discussion that React is not advanced so that can don't re-render again every time after CRUD, after delete, after update, after. But, and ChatGPT said, yes, it is not advanced. Because, but I thinking after that and writing that component, this moment in React component is not created that thinking about memorize, thinking about there is a React memo and there is a use callback and there is a kind for memorize state of component. But here in post excerpt, it means that post excerpt when re-render all posts after fetch post, and when we delete one post, it means that post excerpt don't render in the nothing. Don't render in the nothing. But because one post delete, but new post is one post less. And if memorize, if React memo, if memorize post excerpt, memorize situation before delete, now it is changed. And React memo means, okay, if there is a tree, don't memorize that tree. And if there is no changes in array, there is always tree post, don't re-render. It is like that by logic. We have that by logic. Only re-render in succeed. But every succeed means that we activate features CRUD, that we some delete, that we some that we fetch post, that we delete, that we update, add, that we add new post. It means if post list memorize number post, for example, 3 posts, but when we delete one, it is different of memorized, and it is reason that activate re-rendering. But what can post excerpt can render it one post? How many posts? So many rendering. And after every CRUD must re-render times how many posts exist. Okay, it is my thinking about job of authors of Facebook, authors, Meta company, Facebook, authors of React Redux, and I thinking I 2 years learning React Redux, and it is all in this playlist. And of course, I just go thinking like authors of that. I just began thinking as author of React. It means that I can see future version of React. Okay, it's all for this video. If you have friends what need video like this, write them about this video. Subscribe if you need it, like if you like it, comment, because not only me who need feedback, teacher, but I am also learners, because your feedback learn me. Something can be wrong, something excellent, or something good, etc. And also learn other users of this video. other viewers and learners and students of this video. A growing community means growing learning. Me as teacher and you as a student. But today with the social network, there is a no, and artificial intelligence was deleted border between teacher and the student, and without border, open door in every direction is true learning and only possible learning. Okay. Thank you for watching this video.